or some people that seem to think that they can convince men to stop being rapists. Like old women have been raped, young babies have been raped. These are people that are attacking anybody who's vulnerable, anybody who's convenient. 80% of rapists are what the police call convenience rapists. You get like a 20% of fantasy rapists who will like lock into a specific target, and then they will pursue that person that they're fixated on. But most rapists are actually convenience, quote unquote convenience rapists. So they will target whoever's convenient, and that's why you find that unfortunately, Allah may Allah protect our elderly and our children, but it's the vulnerable people in society that get targeted. Now, what you need to understand about these men, because there's some women or feminists who it's like this reverse sexism where they think that all men think the same, and that they can like rehabilitate the rapist through his thinking. Like you can talk him out of being a rapist. No, he's a rapist. You can't talk him out of the fact that he's habitual. And he's an addict, and he's obsessive about what he's doing. You understand? So it starts with this immoral or indecent crack or interest that becomes addictive, because people become addicted to their sins. They become addicted to their crimes. Now, to explain to you how the mind of an addict works, if a person looks at this, let's take food for example. If you show an average person food, the pleasure part of the brain will light up. Okay. But if someone's addicted to food, the habitual part of the brain lights up.
And not the pleasure part.
Not the pleasure part. So anybody who deals with drug rehab and alcoholism will explain to you that this person has in their brain, the habitual part of the brain tends to light up regarding the thing that they're addicted to. And so you'll find that most criminals, pedophiles, molesters, rapists, people that are addicted to stealing, like shoplifting. Kleptomaniacs. Even if they're middle class and they're not starving, they're not hungry, but they just like to go in the shops and steal because it's quote unquote fun for them. It's a thrill, but it's addictive to them, so it becomes a habitual thing. So people do get addicted to their sins, they get addicted to their crimes, and it's a habitual thing that they find compulsive. So you need to understand that that's actually what you're dealing with. And so if you remember in the Quran, when Yusuf alayhi salam was approached by the wife of the Azir, and he said, yes, and he says he didn't want to get involved with, he didn't want to commit the zina, he didn't want to get involved with her because he didn't want to become of the jahiliyyah, right?
Of the ignorant people.
Ignorant people. So what does that mean? Because surely if you're already enlightened, you're not going to go back into ignorance. But if you indulge in porn, if you indulge in sex crimes, if you indulge in perversion, it is going to negatively affect your brain. Therefore, these men are not men that you can actually reason with. They're not going to go scrolling through their Facebook and find a hashtag and a meme and then have some sort of revelation, go, oh, right, I'm not going to be a rapist or a pervert anymore. It doesn't work that way. So you need to be aware that this is what we need to be aware that this is what we're up against. And so we're dealing with the physical benefits of hijabi culture, which is not just wearing a scarf over your head, but practicing boundaries in a variety of ways to protect ourselves and our loved ones. So besides, one obvious physical benefit is protecting our skin. But we're more concerned about the abuse. Preventing sexual abuse and other forms of harassment. So the question is, does it actually work? Now, I think some women can speak for themselves if they're comparing their experiences. But it would be safer to say on a macro level rather than on a micro level. It basically, quote unquote, flattens the curve, so to speak.
In a sense,
yes, it flattens the curve, meaning it brings down the statistics of harassment and abuse, because it's creating more isolation and division between the genders. It's creating less opportunity. So if you look at what the predators look for in terms of grooming, predators want to get close to their victims, whereas the hijabi culture creates that space. So you can't get close to your victim. The predators are trying to get alone with their victims, whereas the hijabi culture is a culture where, males and females can only have relationships if those relationships are mediated. So if you're working for a male within an office environment and it's mediated so that you are protected from harassment. For example, if your father's involved in your engagement, that's a mediation. So of course that mediation is going to prevent a lot of exploitation. So there's what we've got, getting close, the mediation, and what else? The blurred lines. Predators love to blur the lines. They love to confuse things, whereas Islam creates very clear
boundaries.
Like
Yes.
you cannot step over that line, finished.
Mhm.
And another thing is privacy, but I think that also is dealt with in terms of mediation as well.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, there's one NGO where if you go to, because the male, there's a lot of males working at this one NGO, but they have a lot of females coming requesting for Sakai parcels.
Yes.
So they have like a window where the female can come into the male's office, but everyone can see.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah. So there's accountability.
Yeah. So as Muslims, like, this is how we have to think. We have to be street smart, and we have to be conscious and set boundaries and set ourselves up in a way successfully, instead of having like these private conversations on WhatsApp and meeting around corners and things like that. So if we have openness, we have mediation, we have space between us, then inshallah it's definitely going to quote unquote flatten the curve of sexual harassment and exploitation, inshallah.
Now, I know that, that the question that might come up is, in how would you account for incidents